the family of little feet. So far, we've been given a pretty good picture of the type of people and culture that surround Esperanza. She lives in a male-dominated culture. There are very clear distinctions between the roles of males and females. Esperanza gives us several portraits of how different people wish to escape their present situation. We have Marin, who wishes to marry out of her situation. Louis' other cousin wishes to commit crimes so that he'll have something better in his life. And then we have Alicia, who wishes to use education as her way out. And then, of course, Esperanza is still trying to figure out her way, how she will escape her present situation. But she knows she wants to get out. We also see Esperanza's slow emergence into puberty, finding her own womanhood. And she does this through things that she learns from Marin and her observance of the other women in her neighborhood. I would use a comparison of Esperanza standing on the beach of womanhood and her own sexuality. Right now, in this chapter, the family of little feet, Esperanza is dipping her toes into the water. She's standing on the beach and she's starting to dip her toes into womanhood and what being sexy is all about. I'm going to read the first 3 paragraphs of this chapter. There was a family. All were little. Their arms were little and their hands were little, and their height was not tall and their feet were very small. The grandpa slept on the living room couch and snored through his teeth. His feet were fat and doughy like thick tamales, and these he powdered and stuffed into white socks and brown leather shoes. The grandma's feet were lovely as pink pearls and dressed in velvety high heels that made her walk with a wobble, but she wore them anyway because they were pretty. Here we can see how more and more poetic Esperanza is becoming in the way she expresses herself and the way she describes things. She uses very flowery, figurative language to describe the family of little feet people. She goes through these descriptions all to say that the shoes that she and her friends get from the mom of this family fit them. Okay, so this whole description about the family having little feet is all to say that, hey, even though these shoes belong to an adult woman, they still fit us because she has small feet. They love these shoes. The mom gives them 3 pairs of high heels, and they love these shoes. They go crazy. But there's a certain level of uncertainty at this newfound sexiness that they feel when they put on these high heels. Esperanza says, "But the truth is, it is scary to look down at your foot that is no longer yours and see attached a long, long leg. But then it gets a little exciting because those long, long legs are all their own. And they're actually kind of good to look at." Rachel learns to walk in the heels the fastest and the best, and so she's the one who teaches the other 2 how to walk in the shoes. They then gain the confidence to walk around the block with these shoes on. And here is where life lessons are learned firsthand, okay? So as they're walking now in these high heels, mind you, these girls are like 12, 13 years old, okay? And they're, strutting their stuff around the block in these high heels. They're feeling themselves now. So men start staring at them like they're Christmas, like they're presents just waiting to be unwrapped, right? They're admonished or warned by Mr. Benny, and he tells them that they're too young to be wearing shoes like that. But of course, they don't listen to him. They keep on strutting their stuff. As a result, boys start to leer at them and call out flirtatious comments at them. They meet up with this bum on the street, and he tells Rachel that she's pretty and, that he likes her shoes. Well, Rachel is eating it up, but Lucy and Esperanza are uncomfortable now, with this unwanted attention. It's a little too much for them. But the bum propositions Rachel, asking that if he gives her $1, will she kiss him? And, the crazy thing is that she really seems to be considering this. But Lucy grabs her, drags her away, and they all run back to the house. They hide the shoes on Lucy's back porch until their mom finally throws them out one day when she finds them stuffed in like a basket or something. But the girls were kind of scared, I would be too. Some weird guy like that on the street says, hey, I'll give you $1 if you kiss me. Yeah. Esperanza writes, we're tired of being beautiful. Well, it's kind of a tough lesson for a 12-year-old girl to learn, about growing up too fast. But, actually it's not the last lesson that Esperanza will learn about the perverse nature of how some men can act towards little girls. A rice sandwich. The events in this chapter just makes you want to slap some people. Just as we learned early on that a nun had embarrassed Esperanza regarding where she lived, another nun commits the same error. Esperanza is envious of the latchkey kids and students who live far away because they get to eat in the canteen or I guess the cafeteria at their school. For some reason, she thinks that is cool and it's better than going home to eat. Well, one day she asked her mom to write her a note allowing her to eat at the school. At first, her mom says no because she doesn't want to have to stay up late at night fixing sandwiches for all the kids because, if one wants to do it, probably all the rest of them want to do it too. But, she thinks that Nanny and the boys will want to do it too. But they surprise her. Nanny, Carlos, and Kiki say that we don't want to eat at school. We like coming home. And after about 3 days of begging, Esperanza's mom finally gives in and writes the note. The note reads, Dear Sister Superior, please let Esperanza eat in the lunchroom because she lives too far away and she gets tired. As you can see, she is very skinny. I hope to God she does not faint. Thanking you, Mrs. E. Cordero. It's kind of cute. As you can see, she's very skinny. I hope she doesn't faint. That kind of made me smile. But as you'll see, Sister Superior didn't really care much for that little note. So when Esperanza gives it to Sister Superior, the nun responds by telling her that she only lives 3 long blocks away, from the school, and she makes Esperanza show her house, because she thinks she can see it from where the school is. She doesn't even ask Esperanza, so what do you mean? Like, where do you live? She doesn't even look in Esperanza's record or anything. She just assumes that because this is a little Mexican girl, she's poor and she lives in like some ragged building somewhere that's close to the school. That's what I'm saying. Like, people like this just make you want to slap them. And then she made me stand up on a box of books and point. That one, she said, pointing to a row of ugly 3 flats, the ones even the raggedy men are ashamed to go into. Yes, I nodded, even though I knew that wasn't my house, and started to cry. I always cry when nuns yell at me, even if they're not yelling. Then she was sorry and said I could stay, just for today, not tomorrow or the day after. You go home. And I said yes, and could I please have a Kleenex? I had to blow my nose. In the canteen, which was nothing special, lots of boys and girls watched while I cried and ate my sandwich. The bread already greasy and the rice cold. So the excitement of the event that Esperanza anticipated so much was completely deflated by this nun. It became a very embarrassing event for Esperanza. And now truly, Esperanza really has to work on her self-esteem. She had issues before, but this just buried her even deeper. Chanclas. Chanclas are the Spanish word for sandals. Another chapter here that shows an atom of embarrassment that the low self-confidence of a 12-year-old girl will allow her to feel. Esperanza and her family attend the after party of her little cousin's baptism, and her mother went out and bought her a complete new outfit for the party, everything except the shoes. She forgot the shoes. So Esperanza had to wear her ugly, thick, brown and white school shoes with her brand new pink and white party dress. She was not happy about that. So she's so embarrassed that when her young male cousin asks her to dance, she says no, because she doesn't want to go out in the middle of the dance floor and have everybody watching her in her ugly shoes. Her uncle Nacho, though, finally gets her to dance with him by telling her she's the prettiest girl in the room. After people begin to praise how well they're dancing, Esperanza forgets about the ugly shoes and she just absolutely beams when she realizes all night The boy who is a man watches me dance. He watched me dance. I think we can see how Esperanza is beginning to take pleasure in being noticed by the opposite sex, but in an innocent way, unlike that nasty bum who pretty much, molested the girls verbally. So, this is an innocent, an innocent aspect of growing into her womanhood, not something that makes her feel dirty. So, it was kind of cute to see. I think it helped her self-confidence a lot. Hips. I like coffee. I like tea. I like the boys and the boys like me. Yes, no, maybe so. Yes, no, maybe so. One day you wake up and they're there, ready and waiting like a new Buick with the keys in the ignition. Ready to take you where? They're good for holding a baby when you're cooking, Rachel says, turning the jump rope a little quicker. She has no imagination. You need them to dance, says Lucy. If you don't get them, you may turn into a man. Nenny says this, and she believes it. She is this way because of her age, meaning she's young and dumb. That's right, I add before Lucy or Rachel can make fun of her. She is stupid, all right, but she is my sister. That's what I'm talking about, Esperanza standing up for her little sister. But most important, hips are scientific, I say, repeating what Alicia already told me. It's the bones that let you know which skeleton was a man's when it was a man and which a woman's. They bloom like roses. I continue because it's obvious I'm the only one who can speak with any authority. I have science on my side. The bones just one day open, just like that. One day you might decide to have kids, and then where are you going to put them? Gotta have room. Bones got to give. But don't have too many or your behind will spread. That's how it is, says Rachel, whose mama is as wide as a boat. And we just laugh. What I'm saying is, who here is ready? You gotta be able to know what to do with hips when you get them, I say, making it up as I go. You gotta know how to walk with hips. Practice, Like if half of you wanted to go one way and the other half the other. That's so cute. I love that. But just like with the naming of the clouds, Esperanza takes a scientific approach to understanding a part of her femininity. How to use her hips. Slowly, though, she starts becoming more creative with her description and with her thoughts about it. Of course, with the help of Nanny and the other girls, and just allows her understanding of her maturing body to come naturally. So that was a good thing. Each of the girls, except Nanny, they make up their own rhymes about hips while playing double dutch. Esperanza tries to get Nanny to make up her own rhyme, but she won't do it. She doesn't do it. She keeps singing the old regular jump rope songs, and the rest of the girls kind of get a little frustrated, but that's Nanny. She's not ready for all that stuff with hips and all that stuff. Because of course she thinks and she really believes that if you don't get hips, you're gonna become a man. So yeah, she's just not there yet with the rest of the girls. And just a good point to note, Esperanza is the only girl who sings a song about actually getting hips of her own. So that's something to keep in mind. She is definitely maturing and thinking about her own maturity, growing up. And I guess now I would say, based on my comparison before, that now she's probably about knee deep in the ocean. She was standing on the beach, dipping her toes in. Now I think she's getting in the water.